Yay! What's up, everybody?
What's up, guys?
Okay, just getting everything. Oh. Ah. There we go. What's up, guys? I'm Jonathan, this is Lewis, and this is Superhero Chat. So today we're going to be talking about the Rise of Skywalker. We're finally doing it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
And then the Birds of Prey.
We'll theorize about that since technically we haven't watched it.
And more. But first, news and notables.
News and notables!
News and notables!
News and notables!
So what you been reading this week?
Lots of stuff because somebody we know, I guess I need to scoot over some. Somebody we know had an awesome sale on comic books. You know who that was?
I have no idea. Who?
It was Brandon at Play for Life Comics. He is celebrating his 4th anniversary here in the town of Wake Forest.
That's right.
And so we were able to go and rack up some good deals.
That's right.
He saw us coming, we saw him coming, and we feel like it was a mutually beneficial adventure. And so we're going to talk about some of the books that we got. Not all of them, because we got a nice haul, but some of the more notable ones. And
right.
so yeah, it was a good day Saturday, and yeah.
Cool. So have you been reading anything? Go back to my original question.
Yes, I've been reading lots.
More
Lots
than
of
I have.
Legion of Superheroes. So I got the Legion Worlds miniseries that came out right before the relaunch of Legion in 2004? Early 2000s, anyway. Oh, no, it was 2001, because the 3 boot came out in...
The 3 boot?
Do you really want me to go down this rabbit hole? Because I will.
No.
Because there was the original Legion, then the reboot Legion, or the Archie Legion, after 0 Hour. Then there was the 3 boot, which was the Mark Waid run in the mid-2000s. So, yeah.
So the second boot.
Yes, it's toward the tail end of the second boot. But it's good. So it's sort of setting up some of the main characters that'll carry over into the main series and plot lines. Nice hat, by the way.
Okay.
And
you ever learn that hat flip?
nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I'd end up covering my face, which might not be a bad thing. I don't know. But anyway, so I've been reading a lot of Legion.
That's the other one. You flip it and then catch. I'm not always as confident with that. Oops, wrong way. We'll do the other one. It's easier.
There you go. Let's see. So the big news for me as far as comics goes, though, I was able to rearrange my closet.
What?
Yeah, so it's not as daunting. I took a picture. I'll have to show you.
Okay.
I don't have a before shot, which would be really helpful if I tried to show everybody. See?
Wow.
I might actually be able to close the doors now.
Yeah, but you can't really get to the back stuff.
I couldn't get to the stuff before.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, I mean, it was a...
You should get you one of those shelves that we saw at the...
Yeah,
place.
the only problem is with the dimensions of my closet, it really wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because I'd run out of...
Want to show them rather than just us talking
Alright,
about
so
it?
I'll show you guys what I got going on there. So if you've seen any of the videos we did, 9 months ago when we were doing Skype?
2019's January 1st, we were live streaming New Year's.
Yeah, that's a good start.
And you can see
the
his
mountain,
closet.
the mountain of comics behind me there. But yeah, my wife gave me ample time and encouragement to straighten it out. So what I did was I took a lot of the ones that were stacked up on top and organized them.
Is that how you gave me Quasar last week? Or
yes, because I came across those in a box.
I got you.
So I really dig that series, but at the same time, I don't have a whole lot of room for that. So.
Well, I've been reading. Last week I mentioned that I was reading a book, and this is the book that I chose. Jedi Search. So it technically comes after, I found out after the Thrawn trilogy, which I also have, and I showed that last week too. I'll show it again because it's beautiful. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous book.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about that. So, I followed his advice.
After I told him a second time.
So, here's the thing.
And handed to him directly and said, buy this time.
To be fair, I didn't realize it was the Thrawn trilogy. And to be fair, I didn't realize that Brandon had 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
So, come his anniversary sale, I picked these bad boys up.
Clear there.
Well, what do you want me to do?
To angle it so they can see it.
I'm trying to angle it. It's 2 of them. It's hard for me to angle.
Anyways, he got them on paperback.
Yes.
For $3 each.
But these are like minty.
Steal.
These are minty fresh. Look at the whiteness on those pages. They're not yellowed, and there's no bend in the spines either. That's just pretty. Like
$3 for arguably one of the best trilogies ever written.
And in true comic collector form, I have to track down issue number 2.
You're welcome.
So yeah, no, I'm actually very excited because I'm gonna try and find a stupid good deal.
I've been reading this a few pages at a time. I'm barely in it at all because I'm a really slow reader. But I read it during my breaks at work, so it's great. And really what I found was immediately I realized these first few pages of this book, because I've read all of 12 pages, are better than the entire Disney trilogy. And I can say that. 12 pages is greater than the entire Disney trilogy.
About 7 or 8 hours.
Which is really sad. Like, I read a couple pages in, and Han and Chewie are getting into a dogfight, which they're underqualified for. It's great. It's great. Han goes up to the top and is about to shoot some TIE fighters, and Chewie's yelling at him, and Han's like, I don't know, you're the pilot, you figure it out. I'm like, yes, this is him. That's great. I'm like, this is a breath of fresh air. I'm on this EU Reddit page. I think it's just called Star Wars EU.
I heard Reddit is a hole you're not really supposed to go down. So be careful.
And I posted this, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, this is after Thrawn." I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I need to read those too." But we were, because I'm a slow reader and I haven't read much of anything. But they were, we talk all sorts of stuff about how great the EU stuff is, and it's great. I just had forgotten it, and what I was going to say, the reason I brought it up is there's a whole group of people on there who are buying all these EU books and trying to get onto there's kind of this resurgence of people reading the old good classic books, so it's pretty cool. So if you're interested and want to read EU books, let us know what you're reading. We're curious to know what's good out there. So
you're still able to chat with us at this point, so
yeah,
feel free to take advantage of. Well, that's true. Take advantage of that.
Hey,
there's Dan's ear.
Welcome. So what you got next?
So just a couple of other. Here, I'll let you hold on to that since you're going to talk about that. Let's see. I'll save that for last. So yeah, like I was saying, got a bunch of Legion books. This is one that shows the Legion clones.
Brandon had a deal on Saturday that if you filled this little box, was, I don't know, like this big.
It's a diamond shipping box that you would get, comics.
You could fill that box for $50 from his dollar boxes. And
he came in a few minutes late, and I had a box near about filled before he got there.
But I knew what I wanted, so I didn't take long. So I just got in there and grabbed a whole bunch of Nightwing from, what was it, That's not Chuck Dixon, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay.
It is Chuck Dixon.
And I was pretty excited about that. And then randomly, Brandon walked out and said, "Hey, what Green Arrow stuff were you missing?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I just started listing all the ones." He brought out this box and started laying them out there. Of course, they weren't in the dollar bin, so we couldn't get
as good a deal.
But we also got this one that I read. It's a Green Arrow 101.
Spoiler, it's the death of Green Arrow.
Right.
He legit dies.
He's in one panel. But I went ahead and read it. It's a good tribute to the Green Arrow character. And I got a bunch of others, so I'm real close. If I don't have it, I'm real close to having the first 100 issues of the run. So that only leaves less than, I think, 10 to 20 issues that I have left. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Isn't that exciting to know that you're very close to having it all?
Right.
So I got a grip of Avengers West Coast books. He threw some in there in like the most random spot, but I came across them and was like, yoink. Also, I found this little beauty. Half of this series, X-Men: The Hidden Years. So this bridges the gap from the original X-Men series to the up to the point of Giant Size X-Men #1, where Wolverine, Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler, all those join. And so yeah, it's John Byrne. He's writing X-Men and Fantastic Four characters in there. And so I'm excited to look through that and read that. But yeah.
Lewis came a couple weeks ago and said, "Read this," and I think he mentioned it last week on stream that he had given it to me. He let me borrow it
To read, yeah.
And it's this Justice League Quarterly, and really I just read the first story, which is I think what he wanted me to read.
That's right. Yeah, that's all I cared about.
It's a story about an elongated man and him.
His wife disappears.
Right, and he's got to uncover what happened to her, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's got Wally West, Flash. It's got Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Fire and Ice, and it's got I don't know who the Russian dude is.
Oh, Rocket Red.
Okay.
So sort of the Russian the Russian version of Iron Man as an answer to the Green Lanterns.
Man, I feel like there were some subtle clues to the answer to the story. If I had known the rest of the series, I might have picked up on.
Probably.
But I love that Wally was just upset that Guy was going to destroy everything, and he's like, "Well, this was an actual once a beautiful train station. Too bad Guy's going to destroy the whole thing."
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, no, the banter in there is spot on.
That's
and what's
good.
great is Mark Waid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's just an excellent
Shadow
elongated
Bucks.
man. Yeah, he's talked to us about it's Valiant, if I'm not mistaken, Valiant
Okay.
series. So
I don't know much about the non-Marvel DC stuff,
yeah.
and there's stuff I don't know about.
Oh,
Marvel DC.
we've talked to him about that before. We looked it up because he mentioned it.
And I guess I should mention this is something that Lewis had
Foisted on him.
got for me.
It's the original Super Sons.
So
Yeah.
not really sure what it's about, but he does.
No. I just looked at the cover.
Yeah.
I don't know why the Superman guy looks like.
Superman calls him his son. It's weird.
I don't know why Superman's son looks like. What's the
Batman
guy
calls him-
from Family Guy? Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
If you look a picture of him up, you would see that they look strangely similar. So.
Okay.
I also picked this up as one of the random ones.
Yeah, that's a cool cover.
It's just a really cool Joker cover. You can't see it because of the shadow, but there are people behind him dead and have their eyes marked out, like X'd out.
Interesting.
And there's a fish and a rubber chicken and the little arrow through the head gag there.
That's pretty fun.
So it's just a good looking cover. I really dug that. So I brought that as an example. And then last but not least for me, as far as treasures that I picked up. Yeah, so I like Spider-Man. I can't
What?
really, yeah, I can't really afford Amazing Spider-Man #1, but Brandon had a copy of Spectacular Spider-Man #1 in minty good shape, and so I went ahead and ponied up for that bad boy. He did give me a nice discount, and it's got some nice Sal Buscema art on there, um, and so I'm excited, like, to own a really old Spider-Man #1 is you know, it's nice.
Yeah.
Originally, I thought it was the first tarantula, but it's not.
Oh.
Which, you know, if I could read, you know, featuring the stinging return of the tarantula, you know. But anyway, I'm still excited to have it. It's nice. So yeah.
Yeah. So I assume that's Doctor Strange too.
Yes, I heard about that. Yeah.
And that's the one with supposed to have Scarlet Witch in it.
Yes.
And I think it's about the multiverse. Is that right?
Yes.
So we'll see how that's gonna go. I love the first Doctor Strange. My only worry is that it's gonna become less about Doctor Strange
And more about everybody else.
and more about both him and Scarlet Witch, which I love both characters. Both actors are great.
Maybe it could be a buddy movie like Ragnarok, but with
That would be fun.
trippy magic. So
And if they get some Vision in there, that'd be great too. Multiverse. I mean, you never know.
well, that's true. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Ooh, if we could get the pale white Vision, that would be neat. So at one point they bleached him.
And I still need to see the first Venom.
Danziger.
Yeah. No, I'm just okay. I couldn't understand what you're saying. Yeah, so I need to watch the first Venom, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we're really slack about that. We should check Redbox the next time we hang out and see if they have that.
So I know we've got the order. That's all the news and notables I've got.
Yeah, I really can't think of anything else at the moment other than topics we're going to cover. So.
Right. So I know I put Rise of Skywalker first, but we're going to save that till last.
Yeah, right. Thank you. That makes sense.
We'll talk about Birds of Prey now. Spoiler: we haven't watched the show.
The movie. Yeah.
The movie. We have heard that it's tanking pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how true that is.
It won the box office over the weekend, but only made like $13 million.
But
or maybe that was opening night. I don't know.
I feel like we did a live reaction to the trailer one time because
that's right. Yes.
We were waiting for the Rise of Skywalker trailer, and so we're like, well, while we're waiting, let's watch Birds of Prey. I think is how that happened.
Yeah.
So it's funny that we're now doing this two together again. That was not intentional, but it would make sense if it had been intentional.
Yeah.
Happy accident.
That's right.
Anyways, so what were your thoughts when you first heard about Birds of Prey as a movie?
So my first thoughts were, I'm not excited for this at all.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of Harley.
Well, before they mentioned Harley.
Oh, well, then years ago, when I heard Birds of Prey, I'm like, ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Because you're venturing off the beaten path of Batman and Superman.
Yeah. They also mentioned Nightwing and mentioned Batgirl.
Please don't break my heart. I want a Nightwing movie.
That
is the way forward, DC.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Shazam. That was a great movie. Aquaman, great movie. Give me Nightwing. Let's build our own daggum Justice League.
Yeah, I feel like the DCEU is kind of in the throes of chaos right now.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think we need Snyder's vision, but at the same time, having a head over it all is somewhat helpful.
Yeah. Jeff Johns, he does a good job.
Yeah, I mean, he helped write the Aquaman stuff.
So.
Not just the comics that inspired the movie, but actually had some credit with writing the screenplay. Anyway,
or you could look at the Justice League cartoon, any of those, and just make it a movie.
That's true.
Just base your movie off of any of those episodes.
Right. I mean, we have ready-made stories like the Judas Contract, and you can pare it down character-wise if you feel like, the 8 or so characters they had in that were too many. But there's crucial ones like Nightwing and Raven and Terra and
Make
stuff
a
like
Batman movie where Mark Hamill's the Joker.
Yeah, no, we want to see that. So DC, please.
That'd be great. You could base it off one of the animated series episodes.
That's true. Which were originally based. Some of them are originally based off the comic books.
Yeah.
So.
Whoa! It's almost like if you base stuff off the comics, it'd be
It
good.
does. You really don't have to try so hard.
Anyways, but Birds of Prey. Like, I was always excited. I've loved the Birds of Prey.
And hold on. Let's define Birds of Prey though.
Okay.
Oracle. Canary.
White Canary. Huntress. And you got those three. You got Birds of Prey.
Right.
There's others you could add, but you got those three. Birds of Prey. Right there. That's it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And they're all intriguing enough on their own. We don't need Harley Quinn.
Right.
Unless you're going to make her the foil of the movie.
Right. I think that DC trapped themselves in the same way with this Birds of Prey movie that they did with Suicide Squad.
Okay.
They put a character that's so distinct that it draws away from the core of the movie itself. Meaning, in Suicide Squad was the Joker. You could have had that whole movie with almost nothing to do with the Joker, except maybe at the beginning just explaining Harley Quinn's backstory. That's all you needed him for. And then never bring him back up again. Maybe she can reference him, but him not showing up at all.
Yeah, calling him my pudding.
Right. He's kind of the reason that Suicide Squad failed. One of the reasons. And it's because it just felt like there was too much going on. The Joker took too much of a highlight in the movie. Which is funny because Jared Leto thought that he had shot a whole bunch more that did make it into the movie. I'm like, they didn't cut enough of you out.
Like that stupid tattoo off your forehead.
Yeah. And so similarly, Birds of Prey could have been about the trio of Birds of Prey, but instead it ended up being more about Harley Quinn. And I'm like, this. It should have. It shouldn't have Harley Quinn in it at all. And I feel like.
Well, I mean, if she were the villain, it'd be fine.
Sure.
I mean, because that would be a creative direction to go while linking the two movies. But then, admittedly, she wouldn't have to be as prominent a feature because everybody would know her already. Right. And so we would get the sort of the marquee star with what is the girl who plays her name?
I don't know.
Any clue? Okay.
I'm terrible with names.
We'd get
You're
Harley
the name
Quinn.
person.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm blanking. But anyway, then you would be able to get all these characters' introductions and their reaction to Harley Quinn, which would have made sense. But so, as he's pointed out numerous times, that I read what happens in movies before I go and see them. Sometimes I do, and in this case I did, and I was underwhelmed.
I enjoyed it.
What?
Suicide Squad?
No, I'm talking about Birds of Prey. I recently read what happens in the movie, and I mean, it's a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
And the Birds of Prey.
Since the whole title is Birds of Prey and
the Emancipation.
It's basically about the Harley Quinn.
But I'm saying, no, it really is though. Like everybody else is a background character in this movie. And if you're gonna put Birds of Prey in the title, don't do that to the heart and soul of those books.
Yeah.
Right? Like I get if you're not gonna have Oracle in it, I get that. That's fine. But I mean, Canary and Huntress alone could carry their own movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a couple of different. They did a couple.
There you go. There's the Birds of Prey right there.
There you go. There you go. Right there.
This is Chuck Dixon right here.
Yep.
Another good series that he did. So
I'm just saying, like, as someone who's actually a fan of those comics, I'm let down and underwhelmed by how they come across in the movie.
Yeah.
We mentioned this before going live a little while ago. I think they wasted the R rating. It didn't need that. It limits the audience unnecessarily.
Yeah. Because, even if you're not going to have Oracle and you're going to have Batgirl instead, which I know DC wants.
Okay, so hold on. They screwed up her. That Batgirl, the girl that's in this movie who's calling herself Cassandra Cain.
Oh, it's not even Barbara Gordon?
No, Barbara's not in this movie.
Why is Cassandra Cain in a Birds of Prey movie?
Well, she's not going by Batgirl in this movie.
I don't care. If Barbara is in there as Oracle and Cassandra is like young as Batgirl, okay, fine, sure, side character, she's in there, whatever.
Well, she's a side character in this movie, but she's not Cassandra Cain, even though that's the name they give her.
But there's no point of having Cassandra Cain in a opening Birds of Prey movie, and she shouldn't be one of the main characters in a Birds of Prey at all.
I think they could make that work though. So that I don't have a problem with, except the way that they portrayed her in the movie. In the comics, she's a mute who eventually learns to speak. Because her father trained her relentlessly to be the perfect assassin, which is why she doesn't speak, because she can't tell you who she is, she was trained by the League of Shadows. She's like Damian Wayne, but the female version,
right? And
not the daughter of the
head of it. A lot more fun than Damian was.
Huh?
A lot less jerky than Damian is.
Right, because she didn't say anything. So.
Right.
He opens his mouth and inserts his foot, but
she ends up being like this really sweet character that loves her friends.
Right.
Unlike Damian Wayne.
And that actually,
who sees them all as tools.
That actually, her characterization though could be the plot of the movie. Like, right. It revolves around her trying to escape the League. And then the Birds of Prey come along and help her do that. It's still a women empowering movie, right?
And you have Barbara, Diana, and I always forget Huntress's name. Helena, that's right. You have those three trying to save this girl out of like this terrible group. This cult, basically.
Right.
It's a hit and run right there.
And I don't want Barbara as a lounge singer. Not Barbara, Diana. Dinah. I'm going to get it right in a minute.
Yeah, Dinah works great as a
florist.
A florist, just like her mom.
Because she's who she is when she puts the wig on to be black and airy. Like, that's her deal. Mike Grell did such a great job illustrating that. Yeah. Like, no pun intended. Because he was writing and drawing the book at the time. So.
Anyways. Yeah.
Man, I hope he's at Heroes Con. We're going to Heroes Con, folks, and we're looking forward to it.
That's awesome. All you need. That'd be awesome if Grell was there.
Yeah, I think we get escorted out. You guys have occupied too much of his time. I'm sorry. He's just so awesome.
You could bring Chuck Dixon, Green Arrow, and have him sign.
We heard you had something to do with this book, so can you...
I love your Green Arrow. Here's a Chuck Dixon cover.
I found it in the quarter bin over there. I didn't know you actually had your name on some of these books.
So I'll probably go see it eventually. I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He does a great job as that, and I think he'd probably do a fine job as Black Mask.
Except he doesn't wear the mask the whole time.
Yeah. Well.
Just put the mask, like, his face isn't messed up. He just likes to wear the black mask because it's intimidating.
Well, and he never takes it off as far as I know.
Right.
Like, that's just who the character is.
Yeah. Because he's just weird.
Yeah.
He's just weird.
Just a strange character that apparently can be taken down by Damian Wayne. But that's another...
Well, okay, he's more of a sort of like a Kingpin type character.
Sure.
But not quite as physically powerful.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's more of a mover and shaker than a
fighter.
Yeah, leg breaker.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's just DC's been doing the Birds of Prey wrong for a while. So I figured that the movie wouldn't be great. But I was hopeful. And until they announced that Harley would be in it, I was excited. And I knew that Harley would take all all the shine of the movie, which is kind of sad.
Right, considering she's never actually been a part of the Birds of Prey.
Right. Well, and it's DC's version of trying to make her a hero, which is dumb because she's a villain at nature. I saw this trailer for the Harleen comic.
Okay.
And it was kind of animated and everything.
Right.
It was really good. I think there's a YouTube channel, Nerdette Newsstand. She posted it out there for her community. It's not her video, but she reposted it. And the video is from the voice of Harley Quinn, and she's talking about trying to save Joker, and like her whole motivation for becoming Harley Quinn, the villain, was to eventually change Joker by love. And that's why she allowed herself to fall. So that's a really interesting take on the character. Like, why would she allow herself to become crazy with this guy? Because she fell in love with him, one, and she thought that maybe by loving him she could change him. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Do you think that happens in real life? Women get in terrible relationships with people in general because they think that ultimately they can change them if they love them.
Yeah,
better than some people. I mean, because I've heard you watch any number of Lifetime movies, which my mom used to be into those kinds of things. The woman's like getting beat on by her husband, but I love him. I can change him. Okay,
no, you can't. Probably not.
Right, but I mean, it doesn't have to be a Lifetime movie, but they could maybe mock Lifetime movies in telling the Harley Quinn story. Because that could be funny, right? Not the situation itself.
Right.
Obviously, there's a gravity to partner abuse and that sort of thing. But specifically, the idea that they just keep making the same movie over and over again. So mocking that would be, I think, very clever.
But I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, that's the Harley Quinn I like.
Yeah, no.
She has good motivation for what she's doing. But yeah, that's, I've been disappointed with the direction that they've been taking Harley Quinn, and
the
Birds
last
of
10
Prey
years,
for a while now. Yeah. I started off getting the Birds of Prey for Rebirth, and now it's something I'm trying to get rid of. So yeah, it's just not as good.
Yeah, we do. We mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, we'll watch it eventually.
Both that and the Venom movie. Yeah.
I wonder, like, I was looking through Netflix. I think it was either on that or Amazon Prime. I'll have to relook. I got so many things.
Maybe they'll put it on the Disney app.
Me and the other Jonathan watched. This is random, but we watched Bird Box this weekend. That was creepy, but it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I don't think I could live by myself after watching a creepy movie like that.
Well, and he was there, so it wasn't by ourselves.
But he left.
Then I watched a comedy after.
Oh, there you go. You need something cleansing after a trippy movie.
It was The Naked Gun, I think it was called. Hilarious.
It's so great. Leslie Nielsen is
He's
like
great.
A deadpan comedy genius.
I know. What was his first one?
Airplane.
After Airplane. I need to see that again.
Yes.
And
you surely do.
And don't call me Shirley.
That's right.
Anyways, so that's anything else on Birds of Prey? That's all I've got pretty much. I mean,
I'm just tired of these movies shoehorning characters into roles they have no business being in.
Yeah. Like Cyborg and the Justice League.
Yeah, no, that's a great. No, I think that's an excellent example. What's another good one? The random way that the X-Men movies just grab. Oh, I'm gonna grab a new mutant and throw him in here, and so you got Sunspot fighting Sentinels in Days of Future Past, and you're just like, I don't know why that guy's in there.
Captain Marvel and the Avengers.
You know what? There's that. There is that.
couldn't help it. Oh.
As long as Marvel gives me a true Defenders movie in the near future, Hulk, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Namor.
Yeah, as far as Marvel goes, I don't think they know what to do either. So we got two franchises that are just clueless as to where to go from here.
What's funny is it appears that they're out of ideas, and like there's ideas on the table that you're just like, do this, like move in that direction while you still have.
We gave a clear definition like a year ago. This is where you need to go. This is what you do next, and it all centered around two words: Fantastic Four. That's it. That gives you everything you need.
Because not only do you get your next franchise if you do it right, but you transition from the Avengers and you open up the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Then you give us things like the Eternals. Then you give us things like the Inhumans and not the show. Because I heard that was terrible. How do you mess that up? It's how do you mess that up?
Yeah, I haven't watched the Doom Patrol or any of the other DC streaming shows, mostly because I kind of gave up on the Arrowverse a while back. Right. I just couldn't take a non-Oliver Queen pretending to be Oliver Queen, a fake, or basically Batman in green, trying to pose as Oliver Queen.
I don't mind.
Couldn't take that.
I don't mind Green Arrow being brooding at times, but at some point he's got to get over that.
But when you had my favorite character, Dick Grayson, saying "F you" to Batman as your trailer, I was like, no, I can't watch this. And then what was worse than that, which I thought that was it, what they did to Starfire was horrendous. I was one of the ones who defended the actress that they picked to play her, and I don't know that she's done a bad job, but I defend, like, there were a bunch of other people, oh, why they picked this person, you know, and I'm like, it doesn't matter, she's going to be orange. It doesn't matter what color an actress is, they're going to, you know, make her orange. Like, you could pick anybody, as long as they're good, but then they didn't even make her orange. I was like, what? Like, this is Starfire we're talking about. It's not some random character that we don't care about. This is Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars. This is Starfire.
See, I want to push you on the floor.
That's my Freudian slip to get into Star Wars there.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna slide into that.
But yeah, Cyborg and the Doom Patrol. No, you need Beast Boy.
That's such a weird. If Beast Boy's there, I'm honestly not that upset with Cyborg being there.
Right.
But I mean,
it kind of fits, but it doesn't at the same time. Like, the Doom Patrol is weird for weird's sake, and the difference is they're okay with that, whereas Cyborg is weird but doesn't want to be. Right. So he fits. He doesn't go out and be around weird people because he doesn't want to be considered weird.
Right. No, he goes to the local Boys and Girls Club and helps with the kids.
Right. He's like, hey, I may be different, I may look different, I may act different, but I'm just the same.
I'm me, and you.
And we can all, you know, love each other and help each other.
I read a comic recently where he was like helping kids get over their paranoia about having prosthesis, like having a fake arm or something. Like,
that's pretty cool.
And that's Cyborg.
That's Cyborg. Beast Boy, on the other hand, he likes being weird and freaky. He lives for that.
He does.
And that's why the two of them make great best buddies.
Because you have the weirdo and the straight guy.
And why Beast Boy works so great on Doom
And by straight, I don't mean like he's heterosexual. I mean he's just like the serious one to the wacky one.
Right.
And it works.
But,
Abbott and Costello.
That's right.
Laurel and Hardy.
I do like Beast Boy and Raven there.
That's a good ship. Yeah.
That's a good romance there.
Jeff Johns, I'm pretty sure.
And I like Cyborg with the girl that's with the kids. That's a good.
Oh yeah.
From the New Teen Titans run.
I'm trying
good
to
stuff.
Good
stuff.
Sarah,
but that's not what we were here to talk about. So let's get on to Rise of Skywalker, because
do we have to?
Yes.
Do we have to?
It's
in the title, so I guess we have to.
I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I really hesitated to jump in. We've mentioned, obviously I didn't like it. I enjoyed it. Actually, oddly enough, I enjoyed the experience of Last Jedi when I was in the theater. But once I got out, the sour taste in my mouth that it left was just unbearable. So it was better than Last Jedi, but Last Jedi I left such a low expectations. It was very easy to get over that expectations.
If
And
this is the bar and Last Jedi's here, it's not hard to clear that.
I think really what it was is that I was glad that it was over, which is never
I think Disney's glad that it's
which
over.
is never what I ever thought I would be when I got to the end of the trilogy or the saga. Is glad that it was over. I'm just so glad that this new trilogy is over. That we can move on and actually get back to real Star Wars. And that's really saddening to me. And so I think part of it was just, going through the cycles of grief of a bad trilogy.
Which he's had to experience again because the local CCs here shut down. And,
yes. Rest in peace, CCs.
We've been grieving.
We have.
And trying to find a fix. We
drove
drove to Raleigh that day to enjoy ACC's buffet, but it's not the same. And then he enjoyed Pizza Hut yesterday, and then tonight
but it wasn't
Domino's.
the same.
That's right. And then we had Domino's
wasn't
tonight.
the same.
It was good, but it's not CC's
They were a
buffet.
shadow of themselves, just like the new Disney trilogy.
Yeah,
should have been.
See, that's how we bring it full circle.
Oh, yeah. So here's what I'll say. They were kind of in a bad spot to begin with because of The Last Jedi. And so the whole first 10 minutes of the movie in Rise of Skywalker was J.J. Abrams discounting every single thing that was in The Last Jedi. Why don't we just fly our ship into it with light speed like that purple lady did? That's a 1 in a million, Finn says. So that can't happen regularly. Good. So we discount that. And then all these other things. We had Luke Skywalker catching the lightsaber. You don't just throw these around. These are the weapon of a Jedi. Duh! That's why Jedi say you don't lose your lightsaber. Did you not watch episode 2? Where Anakin is losing his lightsaber all the time and Obi-Wan's having to give it back to him? This is the weapon of a Jedi. You do not lose this. This is Star Wars.
Clip it to your belt. They have carabiners.
Luke Skywalker is not going to just throw a lightsaber away, although he would because it's not his lightsaber. He's got a green one. The green one is his lightsaber. That's Anakin's lightsaber. He would just hand it right back. This isn't mine anymore. I'm done with this. But they were just undoing everything.
Offhand, I can think of reasons why.
What?
I was just making a joke. Offhand, because Luke only has one hand.
But like everything that it's interesting because everything that Abrams set up, Abrams undercut. Rey's importance, Snoke's importance,
the second guy,
right?
Johnson, right?
Rian Johnson. He undercut everything in The Last Jedi. All the things that we were looking forward to an answer. Well, most people were looking forward to an answer. I didn't care. But I was semi-interested.
I wanted to know about Snoke, and I
was semi-interested, I guess, because it's Star Wars. But in a broader sense, I didn't care because it wasn't real Star Wars to me. Like, this is real Star Wars to me. This is real Star Wars to me. The Last Jedi and the new trilogy is not new Star Wars to me. Oh, here's another one. Since we're on this train, we'll go all the way.
Choo-choo.
This guy, by the way, is an amazing writer.
Choo-choo.
Probably the second greatest Star Wars writer in the EU, other than
the guy underneath.
Second to Timothy Zahn, or Zahn. I don't know how you say his name.
Yeah.
Anyways, so like everything, Rian Johnson undercut in The Last Jedi everything that J.J. Abrams had built up. And then Abrams turned around and undercut everything and dismissed everything that Rian Johnson had set up. And I was like, yeah, these guys are just at war with each other behind the scenes.
In front of the camera, they applaud one another for
Right.
the bold choices that were made.
That's because they have to.
Then you watch the movies and you're like, he didn't
Like,
like
I really
that.
felt bad for Abrams because I think he's a pretty good director. I've liked a lot of his stuff. Not everything, but I've liked a lot of it. Like, The Force Awakens was a pretty good movie. It wasn't a good Star Wars movie, but it was a good movie in general. Um, but uh, yeah, I mean they all had some of that cringe in it. But so Abrams spent the whole first part of the Rise of Skywalker discounting everything that had happened, but that J.J. Abrams or that Ryan Johnson had set up in the and all the problems that he had set up in the original or in Last Jedi. What would have been great is if he had just brought Luke Skywalker back. That would have been awesome. Oh, you thought he was dead? He's actually not dead. He just force teleported. I would have been okay with that. In general, teleportation, awful for Star Wars. Great for Star Trek, terrible for Star Wars. But I would have allowed it this one time to bring Luke Skywalker back so we have a real Luke Skywalker on film after Episode 6. But no.
Not just his Force Ghost.
Not just his Force
At that
Ghost.
really random time.
Force Ghosts can't interact with things. Yoda can't burn a tree. Luke Skywalker can't catch a lightsaber. That's not how Force Ghosts work. They are one with the Force. It's interesting because they've actually done what they're not trying to do, which is become one with the Force. They've actually become separated from the Force so that they keep a part of themselves. Or, I mean, I guess you could argue that it's actually the will of the Force speaking through a visualization of them with all the personality that it's absorbed. I don't know. I mean, you
That's
go
too
into
much.
there.
That's too much. They wouldn't want to. They wouldn't want to go that far because that would make too much sense.
I think it was Jeremy over at Geeks and Gamers said that if we had J.J. Abrams directing his filmography with or cinematography, I don't know what the word is, with George Lucas's storytelling, it would have been great. It would have been amazing because George is not the greatest director. He's a great storyteller. He's not the best director. But J.J. Abrams, he's not the best storyteller, but he's a good director. And so if you get both of them put together, working together, they balance each other out, and it would have been good. It would have been good, and you wouldn't be in the problem you have. But I'm tempted to think, because I did this video a while back about how I would have done the trilogy. Go back and watch that. It was good, I thought.
We were both there.
There you go. I wonder, though, because I don't think that I've ever seen in Star Wars history the fan base. I know people talk about it being divided, but I think really a lot of the core fan base has been united. Because you had a lot, like, Episode 1 was pretty divisive. It divided people into hating the original, the new trilogy then. But I feel like because of how bad, like, when people saw how bad the new trilogy was, they're like, okay, so the prequels weren't as bad as we thought. Like, it's okay. It's aged well. There was a lot of kids who grew up watching it, like myself. And I think that it's really bonded a lot of us together.
Evoked a lot of new
that who originally disagreed about the prequels are now back on board and are like, okay, well, forget the prequels about our disagreements about that. This is terrible.
Misa thinks Jar Jar not so bad.
And so I feel like we've actually gotten, in some cases, a united front of the Star Wars. I mean, there's people who, like my family, watches or enjoy the new trilogy. It's just that they...
he doesn't speak to them anymore.
No, they just don't think as critically about it as I do. They just go to enjoy a movie, and that's all. You know, that's fine. That's them. But, you know, I think very critically. And Star Wars is really, as far as... It's my favorite franchise. Yeah, I delved deep into it in high school. It's very close to me, story-wise, and I really hate what Disney's done to it. And so, you know, a lot of people that I didn't care for who were against the prequels, I'm like, okay, hey, we can get along now. Like, it's good that we can build this bond because we both hate the same thing again. I I really don't want to like jump on a bandwagon of like hating on all sorts of things, but I just want a good movie. I just want a good movie. There's so much potential. They could have gone with this trilogy if they had written a movie on this.
Sense.
It'd have been perfect. I mean, it's not like they didn't just hire Timothy Zahn later to write some more Thrawn books because they realized, oh, there's a whole bunch of people who love these books. It's not like they're not making money off these old legend books. And I'm going to show you a picture. Do you have anything to say over there?
No, I mean, there were like 3 scenes in the whole movie that I'm like, oh, this feels like Star Wars. And I remember turning to you toward the end where Lando shows up in this climactic scene, and I'm like, oh, this actually feels like a Star Wars movie.
Know. When Lando shows up, it's like the best part of the movie.
You know, because you've been wanting that the whole time. Not like I don't. So I'm just gonna be honest. I am very much ambivalent to a lot of Star Wars characters, and I enjoyed the Clerks cartoon series that they did back in the late '90s, and they had an ancillary character named Lando Calrissian or something. Like, they had this extra character that they just kind of mocked the fact that Lando was in the original trilogy. And so I thought that was hilarious. And so Lando's not like this, I've got to have Lando in my Star Wars movie or it's not a Star Wars movie kind of thing. I don't need that, right? So when I'm tripping out that he's there and acting like a Star Wars character, I'm like, there's something to that, right? There's something about the way the actor is emoting and acting that you're like, oh, suddenly we have a Star Wars movie, and then you recognize, oh, this is the end of the movie, and that's all I'm gonna get, and I paid $12 to come in.
And he just disappears for a while.
Yeah,
it's sad.
But I'm just saying, like, for me to get that feeling, so briefly. In a 3-hour movie?
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah. The story didn't make sense. The whole knife made 0 sense. Number one.
Oh right, yeah, you went on a while about that.
Number one, 3PO, and I thought of this as soon as I saw the movie because I'd heard about this knife outside. It's got, if you haven't seen the movie, it's a Sith dagger, and it's shaped in such a way that it shows the location of the MacGuffin that they're looking for.
Right.
And so first of all, it's a well, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but first of all, there's no way that it could have happened because it requires it to have been built post episode 6, which means there needs to be somebody who found the location of the MacGuffin and then went back, created a knife, and wrote and knew the ancient Sith language to carve into the knife and then shape it, not taking the MacGuffin, that just leaving it there after they found it, this priceless artifact. They just left it there, but they also knew Sith, the ancient Sith language, so that they could carve it into the knife so that somebody else could find it.
Wait,
that makes no sense. In 20 years,
hold on, and then be able to control the weather pattern on a particular location such that everything was going to line up perfectly with regard to this knife.
Yeah,
because remember, they had to hold it up and match the way things were framed and that sort of thing, and
because it required the what is it, the old Death Star.
Yeah.
So like they couldn't have made the knife before the Death Star fell because it made no sense for where they found it. So it had to have been built after the Death Star fell. And so you have, 20, 30 years, somebody there's no more Sith because Palpatine's dead. It makes no sense for him to build it. If he found the MacGuffin, why would he not just take it? Why would anybody find it and just not take it? Somebody built this random knife so that they could find the thing that they needed. It makes 0 sense. 0 sense. There's nobody that could have done that. Nobody knows the ancient Sith language. The only one who knows it in the group is 3PO, and he's not allowed to tell anybody. That's ridiculous. Get out of here with that trash.
Okay, and how sad was it? They were like, we're going to erase who you are just for this information.
Just so we can have the information. That's your friends there, 3PO. Friends.
That's right.
They're willing
I'm taking one last look at my friends. You suckers, I hate you all. How dare you try to kill me?
You can say that they didn't force him, that he did it, but he had no relationship with these people. He hadn't been with them at all in the last 2 movies. But suddenly, after a skiff ride with being chased by people who fly now, apparently, even though the Mandalorian's been flying for thousands of years, yeah, it just makes no sense. I thought that was the stupidest thing. Just trying to read some of these comments here.
Yeah, so most of what he's saying we've already covered, but the last 2 he's talking about force healing and...
Yes, so force healing. Oh, that's another one. Never, ever, has it ever been said that you actually use some of your life for force healing. Now, I've actually thought that this was something pretty cool. That there's a special kind of healing specific to people who are mortally wounded, that you can give up your life essence to save somebody. I thought that was a pretty cool addition, but now they're making it seems to be like just everyday healing is where they're going with it. I'm like, no, you can heal. Like, I've been healing myself in video games for 20 years without any repercussions to that. We know that you can force heal. That's part of the story of episode 2. Anakin had not learned force healing yet. Other people had, but he had not. He couldn't heal his mother. It does take energy. So that's why in The Mandalorian, which is like amazing, that's why a young baby Yoda is weakened by it and, falls asleep every time from exhaustion. But I think that they're trying to make it seem like he's actually transferring his life essence, which I think is a ridiculous claim, which is why Ben Solo dies. So it's a brand new force power that they're trying to make look like the actual old power, but it has a terrible consequence now for some reason.
It'll kill you.
It'll kill you if you heal people. No, that's not how this works.
Too much.
That's not how this works. I saw the restoration of Ben Solo a mile away. It didn't really have the effect that I wanted. There was another series that it reminded me of, but I'm not going to say anything.
I'll just say this. He finally seemed like an interesting character when he's standing there surrounded by the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
That's about the only time I thought that Kylo Ren was remotely... Well, that's not true. I thought he was cool at the beginning of Force Awakens until he took his mask off.
And he put it back on for a little while and then took it off and never put it back on.
Right.
I was like, really? How did he get there to fight Rey? Why did Finn chase Rey the whole movie?
Because he loved her.
Well, I think that's the obvious relationship there, too.
But they never bothered.
They never bothered with that.
He had a secret he wanted
But
to
there were
tell her.
times, which is that he loves her. But there
It wasn't, because how do you know that? He never got to say it.
Because it's the obvious thing.
And then she left him at the end of the movie to go by herself somewhere.
Yeah.
It was all about my friends. Peace out, y'all.
How is this Rise of Skywalker? No Skywalker rises. You have a person who pretends to be a Skywalker at the end, but that makes no sense.
No claim. No claim.
There's
whatsoever.
no claim. She's apparently a Palpatine.
She's
which I'm like, that's weird.
a thief.
That's weird.
Right? She's a thief.
I don't think.
She's a
I
fraud.
don't think Palpatine had
She's a
anything,
fraud.
'cause
The movie owns the fact that this whole series is a fraud. At the very end, it's just...
Yeah.
I like what Dan Zier says. It's a soulless corporate movie.
Yeah. Well, in to some extent, I feel like J.J. Abrams was just trying his best with what they gave him. So uh, after the mess that was Last Jedi, I mean, there wasn't much he could do to save it. So I kind of understand. Um, but
he knew the ship was going to wreck, and he's like, well, I can run it right into the cliff and cause it to kill everyone, or I could ground it on the beach. So
that's right. It would have been better if she had just owned that she was a Palpatine. I mean, Luke Skywalker had to own up to being the son of Darth Vader. Then Leia too. Like, it's not easy for any of them. Skywalker or Anakin Solo had to live with the fact that his grandfather was Darth Vader, and that haunts him for a while. It's just something that they have to come up with. Like, imagine being like Hitler's grandkids, great grandkids. Like you have to live with that.
Or just being German. 10 years after World War II. Yeah, we were still here for that. And
well, I mean, some of them actually fought against them. So, being the descendant of Nazis. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, okay.
So
I'm sorry. I was
you're
just
fine.
sort of projecting.
You're fine. But I just want to be accurate.
I just remember a Family Guy joke where they were touring Germany. And then the tour guy was like, and nothing happened from the years of 1938 to 1945 or something like that. Like the joke was, nothing happened in Germany during that time because they just want to overlook that terrible history.
So I don't remember who got Leia's lightsaber. I don't know why she still had a lightsaber.
I don't think she did.
She forsake one.
I think she lost it.
She forsook her Jedi training. Because Luke did train her for a little bit.
But thank God she was there to train Rey, right?
But she forsook her training because she wanted to be a politician and a mother. And so she's like, you have other students, like, I have more important things. The galaxy needs me right now. And how great is that? How great is that? She didn't need to become this master Jedi that could beat Luke Skywalker, because there's no one who can beat Luke Skywalker. But she gave up what would have been an advantage for her, being a Jedi, to help people, to help the galaxy. I mean, it's a wonderful character.
And take care of her family. What a model example.
Right. So she actually raises her granddaughter.
Ooh.
For a little while, because her son's trying to kill her granddaughter, so she hides her existence.
On the next episode of Jerry Springer.
Pretty interesting stuff. Yeah.
Much more interesting than what we got.
The first few pages of this Jedi search book talks about Han trying to live up to the fact that he has 3 kids now. It's pretty cool. Because you start off in there in this dogfight and you're like, man, this guy's got kids. Like, he needs to get out of here alive. So there's more stakes now. It's pretty great. But we didn't have that in the new trilogy. Ugh. Anyways.
That's a dereliction of the character if you don't play into that.
And then, I guess lastly, I didn't like the ending at all. It would have been better if Luke had been the one to kill Palpatine. It makes sense. I think he
totally could have died doing it, and that would have been a nice encapsulation of it all.
If I were to tell you about this story where Luke Skywalker falls to the dark side for the purpose of training under a clone of Palpatine, so he can learn enough about the dark side to finally put an end to Palpatine, because he realizes that Palpatine will just force essence into another clone if he kills the clone. So he learns enough about the dark side to put a final end to Palpatine. Even chokes Han Solo at one point. It's a lot more interesting than what we got.
Yeah, I wish I could read that or watch that somewhere. Does that exist? Is that an option?
I think it's the Dark Empire story. I haven't read it, but I've read up on it. and it seems like a really cool story.
You mean a great Star Wars
and a
story?
comic book too. So, yep. I think the trade is out there somewhere.
Where do I find this?
There's a guy over on Geeks and Gamers, new guys. He's got a channel, RK Outpost. He's a big EU guy, a lot smarter than I am with the EU. So I watch a lot of his stuff, and he's talked about that too. So it's not original to me knowing about it, but I've watched a lot of his stuff. He's a good addition over there. But I'm glad, I feel like a lot of disenchanted Star Wars fans are turning to the EU now, which is great because it's good. But what we got over here? Yeah, but it also Hux was a waste. He was a waste. Tarkin, amazing. Thrawn, wonderful.
Gideon.
There's some great characters that are like actual good military leaders. In the Clone Wars, we had the great military droids, and they were awesome. They were real tough to beat. These great military leaders, and in the new trilogy we get Hux, a guy that can be tricked by a prank call. Really, that's Star Wars?
I don't care if you win. I just want Kylo Ren to lose.
I think that
you're Kylo Ren. It's obvious you're Kylo Ren.
That was awful because I feel like they were ripping off Rebels at that point. Because there's a character that is a villain for the whole first part of the series, and eventually turns to the light side, or turns to the Rebels when he meets meets and has to survive with one of the main characters for a few days, and he gains a mutual trust, and then becomes a rebel because he realizes that he has no friends. Like, nobody really cares about him, but the rebels care about people. And it's just a complete reversal, and it's great. It's good storytelling. And when he turns coat, it's shocking and surprising, but you're like, this makes perfect sense. Like, we've had all this development over the years, and it's so great to see him now becoming a hero. But with Hux, it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense. They're like, oh, let's throw this twist in here. Nobody cares. Nobody knew anything. Why would this guy be doing this? We didn't care about this character. You gave us no reason to think that he might be the traitor. It made no sense.
The best thing that came about as a result of Kylo Ren was the SNL Undercover Boss skit.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
That was
hilarious.
Well,
if they could have found a way to work that into the movie, like maybe that's why Hux hated him, because Kylo Ren just randomly killed some of his best men as a result of this experiment to see who was loyal to him. That would have been hilarious. I mean, I would have been like,
yeah, that's obviously Kylo Ren.
Yeah. I knew it was him from the moment he stepped in and said, "Hi, my name is Matt."
You know, the sad part is some of these younger actors are great. Adam Driver, that's his name. I think.
Yeah.
He's so funny. I've seen him on SNL several times, and he's great, just great. And John Boyega, man, I put out a picture that I saw on the Star Wars EU.
Thing. I remember that. Yes,
and it's him with all his EU canon books, and I was like, this is a man of culture right here. And he did a great job as Finn. I just wish Finn had better writing, and I didn't mind Poe. I just wish he had something to do. Like, they could have done like.
I thought he was gonna die at the end of this movie. Like,
I don't know.
There's a scene where it's hopeless, and I'm like, he's gonna die, and then they'll save the day.
And Daisy Ridley, she's a good actress too. Like, she would have been great as Jaina Solo. That's all I gotta say. If they had made her Jaina Solo, it would have been so much better. But yeah.
Yeah, there was no payoff to Hux. You're right.
There was no payoff to anything in the series. The ending was awful. It was just it was a mess. It was all over the place. It's an enjoyable movie. I think the last one. There's some okay parts in it. I enjoyed the new droid. I thought he was pretty cool, although he did nothing. Yet another droid that they wanted to outshine R2 that had little to no character.
Yeah, R2.
R2 and 3PO were worthless in all three of these movies. And they're the best droids in Star Wars.
They literally had R2 in there so that 3PO can say, "Hey, I'm CP3O.
Yeah.
How are you?"
That was a great moment. When R2 and 3PO are rediscovering each other. Like, if they had done it in a good way, that could have been a great moment. That would have been a great saga finale. And the weird thing about it is, they wiped 3PO's mind like every other movie. Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, is there such a thing as droids' rights? Because somebody needs to campaign for that.
So why are they worried about him losing his memory? They do it all the time. R2 is the only one that doesn't do a memory wipe. It's because he's too smart of a droid. And so what they do is they wipe the droid's memory so they don't become crazy, because they found out if they become too on their own level if they don't get memory wiped, which is why 3PO at the end of episode 3 gets a memory wipe and doesn't remember the Clone Wars as much. So yeah, like, I was like, why is this whole thing about him getting a memory wipe? Like, he gets that all the time. He's a droid. So I don't know.
Don't talk
it's
like that.
it's a mess. It's a mess.
He's a droid. He shouldn't get his memory wiped. Somebody needs to think of the droids.
It's a good. You're gonna turn into the droid from Solo, which was awful. That droid was. Everything else about the movie was okay.
Somebody has to care about droid rights.
But
if we're gonna campaign for people to live and act like dogs in their backyard, somebody should care about the droids in the Star Wars movies. I'm just saying.
Hermione of Star Wars.
That's right.
Can do that. I don't think you get that joke, but anyways,
I'm the Reverend Lovejoy's wife of Star Wars.
Okay.
Won't someone please think of the droids instead of the children?
Anyway, so that's kind of my thoughts. I have more, but I've kind of forgotten them right in the moment. So, and it's been a long video
and a long day.
But thanks for chatting.
Yes, Dan's here, keeping us on
anybody
our
else,
toes over there.
feel free to leave us comments. We try to respond to them all.
We see you're watching, so
I had a lot of. I know, I do love it. Ugh. That's another story.
And,
That's another story.
And R.I.P.
Oh, yeah.
Ugg too, Ugg not.
Yeah. Quill.
Yes.
Rest in peace. F's in the chat, boys.
That's right.
For Quill and IG-11 and the Star Wars trilogy.
We hardly knew you before we hated you.
Yeah. As far as the trilogy.
The new stuff, yeah.
The IG-11 and Quill, we hardly knew you before we loved you.
Loved you. That's right. I have spoken.
There you go.
I'm gonna
this is
activate my self-destructive sequence now.
I will self-destruct. No, not to self-destruct.
Don't.
We're getting through this. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
We're getting wacky now. Like, subscribe.
We're in talks between the two of us about doing some different stuff for the channel, and maybe even a possible name change. So we'll talk about that at some point.
The game will remain the same. The name may change.
Name may change, and we'll explain that in the future. But we appreciate you watching. We enjoy doing this. As long as COPPA doesn't come after us, we're happy to keep going. Keep
All
reading
right,
comments.
Here's how we make it not child friendly, right?
You didn't bring the animal man
I'm
comic.
just gonna bring that and put it on the wall behind Yoda.
There you go. We'll just put it right there with Superman.
It's right there.
The naked animal man. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love for you to join the family. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked, hated about the new movies and the trailers. And
follow us on Facebook.
Let us know what you've been reading. obviously I haven't kept up a comic a day, but like I said, I've been trying to read an actual novel.
I've been
instead.
doing that, but you guys have no idea what I'm reading because I can't ever remember to do a blog about it. But
we'll see.
We're amending that in the near future.
We're working on that.
So.
Let us know what you're reading. We'd love to have a talk about that. And give us a like if you enjoyed the video. Somebody did. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you next time. Peace.